Being deliberate means maintaining the culture that Jim Beveridge and Kathy Broad established when they started this company years ago. And that means staying true to our name, which has significant meaning. It means providing an environment where employees want to stay here and be a part of our culture. And it also means keeping our customers happy, being mission focused on what it is that makes them successful as well. So deliberate means, choosing work, not just picking any work, being very deliberate in how we choose our customers, our partners, and our employees to be a part of our team.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Growing your company takes a lot of things working right. You've got to have the right strategy. You've got to have the right business model. You got to have the right timing. You got to have the right people. So why are we going to talk about growth today? Because everyone listening to this podcast wants to grow their business. They want to grow as individuals. Today, we look at deliberate growth. What are the core aspects of being deliberate, what that really means inside of this? And our special guest is the CEO of QTEC Aerospace, and Carol Daniel and I talk about deliberate growth. Carol has some really interesting views on what does it take to grow a company. One of the things is choosing the right customers. When you choose the right customers, a lot of things get easier. Most people believe that they take any customer who has the money, but the right thing is when your company is mature, you want to make sure you are choosing the right customer, because the wrong customers are a pain in the butt, if they will, but also they're just not the right fit for the organization, the culture, the people, the problems you want to solve. You want to be deliberate in your growth. You want to make sure you're starting with your customers, but this also means your employees. You want to deliberately hire the right people, deliberately develop them in the right way, but you also want to create kind of deliberate culture. All of those things are unpacked in today's episode with Carol. And before you go into this, I'd love to just say this directly. If you are a leader who wants to level up, I want to help you take it to that next level. You don't even know what's getting in your way. If you did, you would already addressed it. Every one of us has blind spots. Every one of us has a little area that we think is the truth or the right way that's keeping us stuck. And once you realize that those things have to be shifted or let go, then you can actually grow your company with ease and grace. I do this all the time. As an executive coach, I want to help you grow your business. Where does it start? Well, it's just a conversation. Get to know each other. I want to ask you one key question. What's going on? Or what do you want to fix that's not working right now? And if we talked about that for an hour, what impacts and insights would you have? I know from experience, it'd be powerful. All you have to do is go to genehammett.com and schedule your call. I want to serve you to the highest level, to be the best leader you can be, to help you create the right kind of growth strategies for your own business. Let's figure out what that is, create a plan. If you want to work with me, great. We can talk about that at the end of the call, or you can actually carry out the plan and go see how it works without me. Perfectly fine. I just want to give. Make sure you go to genehammett.com and schedule your call. Now here's the interview with Carol. Hi, Carol. How are you?
Good morning, Gene. Great.
I'm excited to talk to you about deliberate growth. But before we get there, let's talk about your company. Tell us about QTEC Aerospace.
Certainly, I'm happy to. QTEC Aerospace is about a 23-year-old aerospace startup here in the Huntsville, Alabama area. We're predominantly a missile defense house, but we also have some very important work supporting NASA, the aviation community, and other strategic partners in the FBI, et cetera, here in Huntsville.
It's got to be some exciting work. I usually ask where things are going, but I don't want to get into the top secret stuff that you guys can't talk about. So tell me a little bit about just where you see the market that you have for your company going in the next few years.
Well, I think there's plenty of work here in Huntsville and other areas. We're expanding, even looking at Colorado Springs as our first remote site for the company. And we're looking at the FBI growth and the aerospace growth and our aviation work. We see lots of opportunities in all of the areas which we're pursuing. And of course, cybersecurity is on the minds of lots of folks, us included right now.
Carol, we came here to talk about being deliberate inside of your growth and your strategies to move forward. It really is an important piece to who your company is. What does being deliberate really mean to you and your company?
That's very important, Gene, and how we run our company. Being deliberate means maintaining the culture that Jim Beveridge and Kathy Broad established when they started this company years ago. And that means staying true to our name, which has significant meaning. It means providing an environment where employees want to stay here and be a part of our culture. And it also means keeping our customers happy, being mission focused on what it is that makes them successful as well. So deliberate means choosing work, not just picking any work, being very deliberate in how we choose our customers, our partners, and our employees to be a part of our team.
I was having a conversation with a client today about being deliberate in the clients. And I know in certain stages, and a lot of companies go, well, early on, we just take who we can get because we're still trying to figure it out. You guys have been around for 23 years, as you said. What is the benefit across the organization of really being able to be choosy with your customers? What have you seen is that real benefit?
I think having like-minded customers and employees contributes to the success and retention of our team, because our guys want to solve the hard problems. So they're looking for those kinds of challenges every day. And it makes us align with our customers. We're focused on their successes. We're always a part of their solutions, never part of their problems. So I think that's the value that it brings to the company's continuing growth and success.
I want to dive a little deeper with this with you because I think it's really interesting, but you said something that I want to make sure we put a spotlight on, which is your name stands for something. It means something in the beginning. It still means something. You want to maintain that. So walk us through what the name really means.
I'm happy to do that, Gene. So QTEC is an acronym. It stands for quality, timeliness, efficiency, and courtesy. And those are the characteristics by which we do everything we do, right? We are focused on quality products and services for our customers and quality in how we conduct our business infrastructure here in the business office. Timeliness, a solution's no good for you if you get it too late, right? And responsiveness, of course, is included in that. Efficiency, we're trying to be small and streamlined and avoid bureaucracy. And of course, courtesy also means respecting those around you as we do our day-to-day work.
I am kind of curious, is this where the name started, or is it something that was changed based on how you guys really saw the organization forming?
It's exactly how the name started. When Jim envisioned the company in the very early days, this was the basis for his company.
Would you say these are similar to the company core values, or is it something different?
No, they're very, very, very similar to our core values, and they guide us in decision making and pretty much everything that we do.
This whole conversation on core values is something really special to me. And anyone who's listening in, who's listened to more than a few episodes, has probably heard us talking about values. What would we see across your organization inside of meetings or inside of conversations where values are not just something that you maybe put on the wall, but actually a part of who you are, how you live them? What would we see across that organization?
I think what you see inside QTEC Aerospace is a management philosophy where management works for the employees and takes that responsibility extremely seriously. And so decisions we make for the good of the employees. Obviously, we've got to keep the company moving in the right direction and maintain keep the business afloat and take care of our customers as well. But we've learned that if we take care of our employees, we take care of our customers. So a focus on listening to the employees, a focus on doing what we can to reinforce how much we appreciate them, always making them feel like we're here working for them, I think is key.
Is there any specific way you use values? And let me frame this I'm writing a book on values. And I think there are at least a dozen touch points at which companies can leverage values. For example, one of them might be selecting employees, right? When we put a job description out there, we want to make sure we're only interviewing, and then hiring would be a second piece behind that, people that are aligned with our values already. Is there a specific touch point that you think is really important to help you guys maintain the culture?
It's hard to put it just boil it down to one thing, because it's everything we do all day long. Every decision that we make has to do with believing that we are where we are through hard work, integrity, and above average technical performance, and just maintaining that as we move forward. So I don't think I can boil it down to just one. one thing.
Well, I wanted to see if I could pull out some gems for you, but I do get it. When people live it, it just becomes a part of who they are. And that's kind of what you're saying to us. So thanks, Carol, for letting me go down that road as I'm doing research on that next book. Let's go back to this whole being deliberate, right? We talked about being deliberate for customers and the benefit that has. And also you mentioned being deliberate in your employees. What does that mean when you guys go into the hiring process?
Well, it means that we're very upfront with our candidate employees about how we run the business in terms of what expectations are. We try to be very transparent there so the bar is high, and let them know right from the beginning that we are very careful and we're very protective of our culture. We're very careful how we bring people into it because we value it and protecting it against harm, right? So first, right off the bat, our initial conversation with candidates has to do with that. We hire a lot of people who are like-minded, know each other from one walk of life or another, so that you bring in people that you know and respect. And that's a benefit of a small company, right? That you can do that. And then as we move through, even after someone's been brought on board, we're deliberate in, again, managing their expectations, feedback. If there's anything that doesn't quite seem to be gelling, checking with our customers to make sure they're getting what they need, and just making sure we find any problem areas that need to be corrected. And we even maintain a risk in our management leadership team. We are very deliberate in our risk management process. So we have a risk that of hiring someone that doesn't fit the culture, that we examine monthly in our management reviews to say, are there any issues we should bring forward, anything we need to work on here? And that's not to say we wouldn't work to help people move in the right direction. It's not just about kicking people off the team. It's about just making sure we communicate and are finding good fits, both directions.
Now, Carol just talked about transparency. Now, one of the things that people let get in their way of transparency is they're not giving enough feedback. And what I want you to really think about here is if you're avoiding any kind of feedback or conversations with your employees, you know that there's someone out there that's not meeting expectations, that is rubbing you the wrong way. There's a little bit more friction than you want to be inside of that relationship. I'm going to encourage you to have a difficult conversation, but I don't call it difficult because it should be difficult. I want you to shift your energy around this. Think about it as an opportunity conversation and truly being transparent, giving them the feedback that they need to be able to be better at their job, be better employee or better team member, whatever is getting in the way, addressing that. And if you're not ready for that, then we need to have a chat. I'm not trying to pitch you on, and every moment here, but if you're avoiding any conversation, there's a reason behind it and you need to understand what that reason is. And I can help you with that blockage. Now go back to the interview with Carol and she'll share with you more about how to create deliberate growth in your company. Back to Carol. All excellent advice. I want to spend the rest of the time we have together, Carol, is looking at culture, because this is a very hot topic with people that I have behind the scenes. They're always concerned as their company grows. Your company's been around for a lot of years. You've had a lot of impact in your clients and your community, but how are you maintaining the culture that really keeps the company moving and aligning together? I know there's been some things you've learned about it. Maybe you've made some mistakes, but what are the things that we could look at how you maintain culture?
Well, to be completely honest, Gene, I'm a little bit of a mechanical person. I know that I do things best when I recognize that. And so there's some traditions in the company that we work on maintaining and then adding to those as opportunities present themselves. So we do things very deliberately, like, employee communications, employee get-togethers, quarterly, something as simple as quarterly, we call them birthday lunches. But what that really is about is sharing the overview of where we are, the company, but celebrating individuals, right? To reinforce that family environment so people are together in an environment where they can bring up with leadership any issues. Very clearly open door because you feel comfortable with those people. So, the normal kind of things like holiday gatherings that you might do as an organization, Thanksgiving lunch, those kind of things. And then recently, through this pandemic, it's certainly been an opportunity to look for outside the box ways to keep that culture going, right? We've done Zoom Christmas parties. We've done drive-by, Christmas events, because we generally have at least two every year related to that. And so I really think it's the togetherness and the communication of the company that allows us to maintain that culture so that there's not a lot of bureaucracy and tiers in the organization, right? I try to know every person's name, and certainly Jim and Kathy always did know every person's name and make sure there was an open door policy so that you felt like there were lots of people in your corner. And if anyone ever needed anything, we also go to bat for our employees with customers, because sometimes situations can be misunderstood. And we're always there to resolve it so the customer's happy, but also to support our employees.
So these are all pretty traditional kind of things. And I know you said that you're mechanical and traditional, and I've got an engineering background, so I can appreciate that. I'm kind of curious specifically around how is it evolving? Because as companies get bigger, one thing that evolves is communication, right? When you are a handful of people, it's very easy to communicate. When you get to be 20 or 30 people, it's a little bit harder, but still manageable. When you get to be 100 people, something like communication begins to break down if you did it like you used to. So what are the places where you guys have really evolved through your culture?
That's a good question. So in addition to those company-wide things that I mentioned, of course, we're organized as all organizations into sectors or groups, and we've begun having sector-only kind of events also. So that gives you a smaller organization, smaller part of the group to get together. And then, for example, I might participate in that because that's a way to, again, keep that small environment, small group communication going. And frankly, sometimes having more events, something so casual as, drop by we're going to grill out for Friday at lunch outside the building. And it's not one of those things where everybody feels an obligation to come at all, but anybody who can and will do that. Or do that at the slightest celebration of awards, for example, so that those who can break away from the office can do that. So again, gives you more opportunities to get together and smaller groups to do that. But Gene, I think the bottom line of all that is communication, different ways to communicate, right?
Well, those are good ways of doing it. I want to switch gears one final moment as we wrap up today. All leaders have had to evolve. I've run companies before. I had to evolve in order to keep up with the pace of company, or else I'm the bottleneck. I know that you've probably evolved through this process of being the CEO of this company. Can you remember of one specific inflection point where you realized that you evolved as a leader that we can kind of tune into?
Well, I'll share one that's actually rather recent. I've always been a member or a student of the philosophy that org charts are drawn upside down. And I always felt like I worked for everyone in my team, no matter from the first team I managed, it was myself and 5 people, to now. And that was brought home in a big kind of way through this pandemic, right? Because it became much more difficult to be that person who was taking care of everybody from the front of safety. As a small company, it's interesting dynamics we have here. We actually sit co-located with many of our large aerospace prime customers because it's the kind of work our team likes to do. So instead of having everyone at QTEC under one roof, we actually we're distributed to about 8 geographic offices here in the Huntsville area. So to manage the safety of 8 different facilities or coordinate with our primes there, from a safety of the employee point of view, to trying to figure out how to keep the customer's mission and job moving forward in that environment, especially in the early days. And then on top of that, the worry of, are we going to keep this business afloat or not? Because as you mentioned earlier, a lot of our work is not something that can be done at home. And so it forced our employees into harm's way differently than other industries. And so, Gene, that evolution was the hardest one I've ever gone through, to try to worry about those 3 fronts at once and make sure that I was, again, taking care of the employees, taking care of the customers, and taking care of the business all at once. And it's forced me to delegate a lot more than I've delegated before. And we're still working through some of that. It's the stretching, the most I've ever been stretched as a manager. Let me share that. But I'm happy to say that hopefully we're on the other side of that. I'm not sure what the lessons learned for other managers are from that. Just recognizing that was a tough spot.
I want to ask you one more question, Carol, and this might be a little bit personal, and you can deflect it if you want to, and because I know that you're graceful in doing that. But you've put a lot of worry on others, what you just talked about, external worry inside of your role. But have you thought about taking care of yourself and being able to really maintain your own energy and create a clear mind for you as you go and have to make difficult decisions and whatnot? Are you putting yourself in a way to take care of your own mental health?
That's an extremely challenging objective. It's on my list a lot. And I will share with you as Jim and Kathy have now moved to the board of directors, that's probably the thing that Jim reminds me of most often in his email. What have you done for yourself today? Yes, I try to do some of those kind of things. Everybody does the same things, right? You take a little time for yourself, you exercise, you try to be healthier. That's a challenge of small business leaders, of any leader, probably. Do I do it as well as I should? No.
Well,
Still,
I appreciate
it's a growth
all of that.
opportunity. It's a growth opportunity.
Now, Carol just talked about the mental health of a CEO and that she could do a better job. Now, here's the reality. We could all do a better job taking care of ourselves. And there's one thing I want you to really think about, that is your energy management. Are you bringing full energy to the moments that mean the most in your life? This means the moments at work. This means the moments at home. Or are you just exhausted? Are you mentally tired? And so you're not able to show up fully. I know there's been cycles in my life where I haven't shown up fully, but when I'm more intentional about my own energy and how I show up, I'm better in all parts of my life. And I know you will be too. I say this to you and share with it, just being honest. You got to be able to take time for yourself. That means doing whatever gives you energy, removing the things that take away from energy, but also bring energy to the people in your life that mean the most. Back to Carol. Well, fantastic to talk to you about what you're doing there at QTEC Aerospace and how it all comes together. I appreciate your wisdom and insight here.
Thanks, Gene. It's great talking to you.
Wow, what a great interview. Love Carol talking about deliberate growth, especially starting with customers. You want to make sure you are selecting the right customers for your company, because if you select the wrong customers, it makes it harder to serve them and give them value. It also makes it more difficult to retain your employees because they're not working on the right kinds of things. Deliberate growth touches a lot of places in the organization, and hopefully you got a lot out of today's episode. My job is to help you be the best leader you can be. If you really want to take it to the next level, if you want to play with the big boys or you want to play with the big girls, and I say this just jokingly, then you got to figure out what's getting in your way. Let's have a talk about your business, your leadership, and let's figure out what's getting in the way. Just go to genehammett.com and schedule your call. We'll talk about it. You'll get a plan. I'll help you. Everyone will be happy. It's absolutely free. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.